From the 215 to 302, we kick some facts and talk the news. We keeping it real while acting a fool. So pardon my arrogance and let me holla at you.
Yeah, I want to spend and let's stay in the realm of sports figures. Let's talk about Shedeur. Talk about Shedeur Sanders. For those who may not have been in the world and been under a rock for the last couple of weeks, draft came and went. NFL draft, that is. Shedeur was, rated as potentially the number 2 quarterback in the draft.
Real quick, side note for that. I did more research on that.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, because they're saying that regular, like real football scouts, like that ones that work all damn year, but during the football season, their concentration is elsewhere, so there's only a few scouts at these college games. They said that when they got the tape, when once the season was over and they lost, they had more time to put in there.
Right.
They seen that he wasn't
as
like
polished.
That.
Right.
And that's fine.
I heard that.
That's fine.
I did.
But that don't explain 5th round, bro.
This is about to get interesting. This is an interesting topic because
Daniel Jones was the 6th overall pick. I will never forget that.
On day 1 and day 2 and day 3, I had a certain opinion. But then now, what was that? That was last week, right?
Yeah.
So a week later, my opinion is starting to shift because of some of the intel that I received. And the question that we want to pose, and y'all can chime in the comments, we're going to discuss it here, is Shedeur Sanders PMA stamped, or did he cross that fine line? This is something we've talked about on Part of My Arrogance for the last 5-6 years, of there's a fine line of being too arrogant. People call it cocky and all of these different words, but it's such a fine line.
No, he stamped.
There's a fine line.
No, he stamped. Because he got it honest, bro. His father's the biggest stamp of them all.
Okay.
He's been stamped from day 1.
Okay.
So, of course, he's going to get honest. Everybody and their mama knew this. Okay. Y'all all knew he was this way. Okay. Look at his father. No, they just don't want it. They just trying to change the narrative, and they don't want that. His foot's on neck, bro. His foot's on neck.
I definitely feel that because it was clearly a message being sent.
Because I don't give a damn. There's plenty of arrogant players in the goddamn draft. There's plenty of dudes that say,
100%. I'm
the best player in the draft, this, that, the third.
Yep.
They don't understand how this kid, it's just, bro, especially the Browns, bro. Y'all passed over him like 5 times.
Now let's
and y'all drafted a QB before that. So it's like,
let's stay there for a minute because there's one angle that has to be said, right? There's quarterbacks that got drafted before Shedeur.
Plugs.
That aren't in the same league as Shedeur.
Plugs.
Like, let's be clear about that. No matter what gets said after this statement, I just want to be clear about that.
Don't get me wrong. Everybody like who they like, right? They got their
prototypical
quarterback,
niggas,
whatever.
20 niggas is
the Saints,
niggas, bro.
I don't know. That plug y'all could have got Shedeur. There was a dude that was drafted. The dude that was drafted by the same team that drafted him wasn't even close to his goddamn.
And we all seen the tape of the one ball at the combine flinging the pass wild inaccurately.
But if you want to move the goalposts and you have a hidden agendas and you kind of racist a little bit, you can make a point.
Now we in the inner circle of blackdom, we all know that the NFL is the good old boys club when it comes to the owners. We've known it for a long time.
That's why Colin Kaepernick still ain't got no gig.
We could go on and on and on. We've discussed this on the pod before, bro. It's a good old boys club, and it's one of the biggest examples of foot's on neck mentality, bro. If you ruffle the wrong feathers, they gonna punish you.
But it seemed like when you are a certain color is more often.
Absolutely,
because Justin Tucker got wild sexual assault, Jones. Nobody won't even say that. Ben Roethlisberger was doing wild stuff, and he was in the league acting like it was nothing even happened. Ray Lewis did one little thing, and they ostracized him. Ray Rice, you ain't never hear from that dude again.
Never again. Get him up.
Deshaun Watson ain't been the same since he started massaging butts. So it's like, bro. Ezekiel Elliott ain't been the same since he had a dildo like this.
See?
Like, I'm always gonna throw jabs at ex-Cowboys. It don't matter. Oh, fuck out of here, yo. Dak was in there too. You next. Anyway.
Now here's the thing though. People on the flip side are saying, and they put the videos out there, him working out with Cam Ward, It's like 3 or 4 videos I've seen him working out with Cam Ward. And
Cam Ward is wild, arrogant.
But listen, this is what I want to say. And I seen the videos, and I when I watched it, I actually seen why the videos were put out purposely when they were put out. Because you can see in the videos, Cam Ward and Shedeur actually beefing. And Ward's whole beef in each video is, yo, I'm all about football. You over there talking about rapping and this, that, and the third, and what extra shit you do. I'm about football. I want to be the #1 football player that ever lived. And you hear him say it multiple times,
I don't
right?
give a fuck about that, bro. No matter what you do on your side, as long as you come to hoop.
From a business standpoint,
Look at James Harden.
from a business standpoint,
Shaq,
bro.
AI. Like, they all
The
had wild stuff.
businessman is going to want now, and this is when you comparing them too. But there wasn't supposed to be a comparison. Ward was clearly better than Shedeur, but for some reason the comparison happens. But from a business standpoint, you want the guy who is all about football and he don't got no side life. I want him because I don't want you getting in no trouble. I don't want you, doing
what
no
it
extra
was?
shit.
No, but niggas ain't want the circus.
100%, bro.
They ain't want the circus.
100%.
They ain't want Deion coming to the joint like, hey, yo, my man, why my son ain't playing?
When you walk into an interview and they say, what can you bring to my organization, to my team, to my business, or whatever, you say, nah, the real question is, what you gonna do for me? Because I'm the next bull, and either y'all gonna be that because of me, or somebody else is. So y'all need to win me. Bro, in an interview, you know how many, I'm like batting 1,000 all the interviews I've done in my life for jobs. I get offered jobs every time I do an interview because of that same mentality. But when you start dealing with a bigger bag, unfortunately, there's a certain amount of humbleness that you got to carry because the bag is so large.
But he got a bag.
I know.
That's why he
and
acts
so
the way he
it's tough for him.
The NIL stuff, them niggas getting money.
He can't tone down who he is, especially because of who his
he
dad
get
is,
it honest, bro. But they don't want Prime. They don't want Prime on their backs about. You already seen what happened. People sending Prime emails saying we apologize for boom, boom, boom because you got to deal with the parent. It's no different than how they was trying to villainize LeVar Ball. No different, bro. And LeVar Ball came out with the wild cockiness,
right? Big
bro.
baller brand,
and he was vilified, bro.
Yeah, he was.
And if you look at his sons, all of them either made it. 2 of them made it to the league, and one of them is a rapper.
Yeah.
So what he said about his sons is true. You think Prime can't do the same thing?
And that's a great comparison, Q, because LaMelo is a hooper. Yeah, he always hurt, but that boy's a hooper.
All hurt.
Me as a father, if I poke my chest out and say, yo, you know what's in my blood? My young boys, he's the next one, and I'm going to say it as loud as I can every chance I get because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm arrogant. There's nobody better than me. There's nobody better than my young boy. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to give him that same tutelage, so he going to carry it the same way.
And then the unprofessionalism of y'all leaking his number.
That's corny.
And then with the wild stuff, like.
That's corny.
Nobody else got to deal with that.
That's corny. Niggas talking about.
Like, imagine you waiting for your son to get picked. You're already upset that he's upset, even though he's trying to put on the front like I ain't upset. But you know your kid. You're like, my kid is upset. Y'all playing on my kid in my face.
Y'all doing a great job. They did a great job of keeping face.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But for him to be like, oh, here's the call. But and then it's like it's a prank call.
A joke.
And then it's
my
like
life is a joke.
Only people I gave it to them was real professional teams. Right. Now the business part that you
says
talk
a lot about that good old boys club.
The business part you talk about is like what business we talk about here. Where's the professionalism?
Yeah, if y'all ain't carrying it that way, why the fuck y'all expect me to carry it that way?
So I get where he coming from, but it was no way in hell he should have went where he went. I agree. That for a fact.
I agree.
That's you can say whatever you want. I don't give a damn what you say about he still got this work on. It's project quarterbacks that get picked in the third round, who don't have half his stats and half his ability. But you know,
I 100% agree. He is PMA stamped, but I think the lesson to be learned here, unfortunately, and this is a weird one because we promote it all the time. Say it with your chest, all day, every day.
But the NFL is a private business.
That's what I want to say is that unfortunately,
if you look, it's kind of like if you're going for a job,
right?
Because this is a job,
right?
Unfortunately, unless you're gonna create your own league, you got to go ahead and two-step to some degree.
You gotta bend and give them what they want. Unfortunately, that's in life in general, bro. You can be working at a job or about to get a job, and you know that you're not the bull who that's what, you know what I mean? They don't want who you are. They want this guy. So you need to tell them, I'm that guy. Whether it's a lie or not, you still need to give them, that's the guy. And then when I get in the door, no, nigga, I'm PMA.
Ask AB. He tried to do that. He tried to be above the business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just get a job elsewhere.
Yeah.
You see what happened to him?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no matter how cocky and confident you are, you still got to play to a certain role. Tom Brady was cocky and confident, but he played his role. You got to play the role if you're going for somebody else's business. If you want to get into your own business, want to become your own owner, you can act how you want
all day, every day. PMA Stamped. I'm the most arrogant nigga you ever going for. Yeah, I mean, when you're running your own thing, and it's tough because technically he is running his own brand, but at the same time, your brand is at the mercy of this bigger conglomerate. And
no matter how much he want to do, be an actor, the young boy's a football player, bro.
Yeah.
So he wants to play football.
Yeah.
And for him to seem like it wasn't going to happen, because he was older. I ain't gonna work out for nothing. But he wasn't at the combine. He like, I want to go where I want to go. He want to go to the Raiders or whatever. He wanted to pick where he go.
Right.
Unfortunately, it can't do that. But for some reason, Archie Manning was able to do it.
Yeah, man.
I want my son playing. I want my son playing for the Chargers, yo. Get him to New York, and it made it happen. Why can't do it over here though? But you know what? That's another story for another day. Some nut shit, bro.
One thing I will say is that you got to always find a positive out of these things, and for me, a lot of good conversation has come out of it for me and my kids. You know what I mean? I love using real life examples that my children can actually identify and understand.
There's plenty of them.
Bruh,
we got plenty of them.
I've been able to sit down and have some real life examples because I can tell my son all kinds of stories of my heyday and stuff that I've dealt with of why I move this way, why I'm arrogant, and how I move. But it's different when he can understand it because this is his generation. You see what just happened to him, and this is why it happened. It's great conversations.
Beautiful. What not to do. Like we told Shannon just now.
Yeah.
There's always a path. There's always a blueprint to study in order to say, I'm not going to do with that because I want to do that.
Facts.
That's it.
Facts.
Next. Real quick.
From the 215 to 302, we kicking some facts and talking the news. We keeping it real while acting a fool. So pardon my arrogance and let me holla at you.